Hey, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. I'm going to try and demonstrate a trade here. If we get filled, you can see that we've had a strong support right here. We're trying to bounce off of it. We just had a second entry short right here that appears to fail. So if we break higher, this may not fail. We may continue on lower. But if we turn and break higher, we should hit all these stops right here, and that should drive us up for an easy scalp. So we'll see if this gets filled. I may even pause this video if this just sits here and chops around a bit, and we don't go on up pretty quick, I'll take this trade off. But if we break up out of here right now, we should catch quite a few stops off all these shorts and these people that have probably gotten short right in here, not understanding that. Get some of these lines out of the way that don't need to be here. This, just to show you what I'm looking at here, we've been trending down. We had a break of this little trend line. I took all this off, but we had a nice little trend line going right here. We had a break a couple times. We came down and retested it lower, and this has been a strong support. This was the earlier support here, as you can see. And so that's the reason I'm thinking we may go higher off here. This may not hold. We got a big gap that we could fill here, so we could go lower. But if we break higher here, we should catch enough stops. If we can get above this little double top, we should catch enough stops here to propel us to a quick scalp at the very least, and we may go back up and test this high. But this scalp kind of concerns me here. But I'll just tell you what these lines are in case you're wondering. I usually take these off after the market opens, but this just shows me where the market opened. This shows the high of the day, and this shows the low of the day, and it's pretty simple to see right now. But sometimes later in the day, when the low is way down here and the high is way up here, um, you like to have that on there just so you can glance at your chart and see where it's at. And this is always an important area, and I like to always know where the open and the close from the day before was. And you can tell this is an important area. This is where we opened. But look how many times this line, it's kind of been the center of the entire trading range for the day. And you can see the trading range. Here's the low and here's the high up here. And this has been the dead center. And you can see that it acted as support when prices were above it. And now that we're below it, it will probably act as resistance when it comes back to it. And so those are important areas. I like to keep an eye on them. We'll see if we're going to break higher here or not. Just not sure if we will or not. But I'm going to give this a few more minutes. Like I said, I may even pause this. If we go into another bar or two here that's overlapping, I'll probably skip this trade just because it's congestion. And it's really already congestion, but here's the highs and here's the low. And normally we don't trade a breakout here, but we got a failed second entry short. And we've also got a double bottom with a higher low so far. So if we went higher from here, that's the reason I like that. And it's mainly because we got a bigger picture double bottom. This is basically a double bottom. Notice where this low was earlier. Notice that we never could close below that so far. Um, Here we are, we're testing that area again. Let's see if it holds and we go higher. I'll still probably go long here. In fact, I may even move this down to one tick above the last closed bar. When this one closed, I may move it down to one tick above that one because I'm really expecting prices to possibly break higher off of this uh, double bottom right here. So we'll see what happens. So far we've tried to go lower. 1, 2, 3. Now this is the fourth time, so that's a pretty good test of that area, and it's holding to the tick the last 3 times, and we've never had a close below there. Those are all important things to watch for. So here we go. We're trying to go higher. We'll just continue to watch this, and but this is definitely a trading range day. You can see the highs have been up here, the lows have been down here. And we may end up trending lower before this day is over because it really wouldn't surprise me to see us fill this gap. You can see this big gap across here. I really thought today would be an exciting trading day with coming back off the holidays, but this is why I don't trade much in the holidays, and sometimes I wait a few days before coming back, but I've been bored to death. I was ready to get back to trading, and I was excited thinking today might be a good trend day, either up or down. But all the movement. You can see there really wasn't any movement. We just opened higher, and we've been in a 71 to about a 9 point trading range all day. You could make, there's no reason you couldn't make money. I made a little money earlier today on this move, and I made a little bit on this move down here, but I haven't traded much today. It's been pretty weak actually. Um, so just not a lot of setups. Actually, I'm gonna move this down right there, and we'll see if we can't get filled on this trade. We're into 5 minutes here. I'm not gonna pause it yet because we're just about to trigger it. As soon as I pause it, it'll probably trigger. But again, hopefully you understand why I'm looking at buying here, and we'll just see what happens. I'm going to go in with 10 contracts. I'm going to scalp out. I hope I've got it set up for a scalping run. I'm scalping out of 8 of these and letting 2 remain as a runner, just in case um, we go back and test the high up here, which is very possible. But it looks like we may even get a trap here. If they could bring this down 1 tick lower there, below my support line, and then reverse it up, I would really like it. But there's just not much happening. And if you've been trading today, you can probably are aware of that. And sometimes on days like this, it's best just to close up and go home, which is what I'm tempted to do. But I was hoping maybe we might get this bounce here. And we did bounce. If you just bought blindly down here, you've had a chance to scalp out once, twice, 3 times so far. Maybe even 4. I don't know. I don't think that would have been enough. 1, 2. You know, you wouldn't have probably got out of that trade. At least not yet. But the more times it bounces, if it continues to test it, eventually it's either going to rock it off or it's going to go lower. So we'll just see what happens here. I'm going to pause this a minute and come back when either I've decided I'm not going to take the trade or prices actually start moving higher. So I'm going to pause it temporarily. Okay, I'm going to step back in here. We've bounced off this low once again. I actually moved my entry order down to 1 tick above this bar now. And we've really got so many overlapping bars that I just don't like this trade anymore, and I'm about ready to just pull the plug on it. But I'm still thinking we need to come back up and test this area right in here at least before we go lower. And so if we tick lower right here and make a trap, that's really what I need to see now before I'm going to like this trade. I'd like for it to tick 1 tick lower and then turn up. So we'll see if that happens, but I'm going to pause it and come back and we'll see. Okay, I'm going to show you something a little different. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to take this order off. Well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to take this order off, and I'm going to buy 10 right here. If we break lower and get this trap, then I'm hoping we'll bounce right back in there. So here we go. I got my buy order there. Let's see if we can get that 1 tick trap that I'm always looking for and then bounce back up to at least test this high up here. Okay, well, I'm going to pause it since I've shown you what we've done because this thing is slow as molasses. So I don't want to eat up a lot of time just sitting here watching prices tick. So I will pause it and bring you back in when something is happening or about to happen. Okay, we did get filled. It ticked down so quickly there, and now you see it's trying to bounce. So we'll try to get our 4 ticks out of this on 8 of them, and I'll leave 2 for a runner just in case we go much higher. We got a hard 2-point stop here. They're trying to bounce it. So far, I'm not having much luck, but they're trying to bounce it, which is exactly what I expected they would try to do right here. All right, here we go. We're heading in our direction. But hopefully you understood what I did there. We had that strong support area, so a tick through it was likely to be a trap there, if nothing else, for just a scalp. So that's the reason I bought with a limit order right there. That was my thinking. Now it doesn't matter if prices go much higher or not. If we can just get back to test the EMA, I'm probably can get out. And if this doesn't do what I want it to do, I may even just take a couple of ticks out of it. You've always got that option as well. You don't have to get 4 ticks. Here we go. We got a nice trap, so I'm expecting that we should be able to get 4 ticks out of this. I'm expecting it will probably come back up here. Okay, we're bouncing off our exit order. Bounced off it right there. Hopefully we don't get trapped with a 1 tick trap at the high side here. And that could very well be what happened. You're always, anytime you buy in a congestion area like this or sell in it, if you're not buying the very low or selling the very high, you're taking a big risk. So keep that in mind, and that's why I decided to buy down here instead of buying higher, because by the time all this ended, you see all these overlapping bars. And I'm tempted to just go ahead and close this trade and take a tick out of it, but you're always going to get resistance at that EMA, so that doesn't surprise me that it didn't tick right on through there. Let's see if they can give it another shot at it and see what happens. Tell you what I am going to do, though. I'm going to go ahead and 1, 2. I'm going to give this 2 ticks off that low. Just tighten my stop some. No sense in, because if it goes lower there, we're probably going considerably lower. So we'll give it 2 ticks just to make sure we don't get trapped. We don't get stopped out on a 1 tick trap that reverses. But I still like this trade. If it bounces off our order another time or two here, we might get out without it even ticking through, because I've had my order there for quite a while. We bounced off of it earlier, so here we go. We're bouncing off of it again. That's about the 3rd time we bounced off the order. Come on. Here we go. We're still bouncing off of it. 1 more tick. There we go. We're out. Our stop's at break even +1, so we can't lose any money. So we got a full point on 8 contracts. So that's that put $400 in the bank for us. And now we've got 2 runners going here. And the worst we can do on these 2 runners is make a tick, because I'm not going to give it any more room than that. I've got my stop at break even +1. And what we might do here is get a trap right there. This is probably where I should exit, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna let this one run, or try to let it run. I will probably tighten my stop after this bar, because this is where you're likely to get prices to turn and go lower. You get a trap out the top side. If we get, if it breaks out here, it may trap everybody to the long side and then turn down, because everybody's thinking long now. See, that's you got to think ahead. That's why I'm thinking long down here before you see all this. And I don't necessarily encourage everybody to buy like that until you understand how to read the price action a little better. Let's go ahead and tighten this. Well, this is probably going to come back. Actually, I'm going to try to get 2 points. I'm going to bring this down 1 tick because we're 70. Oh, actually, I did have it at 3 points. That's what I wanted. Okay, I'm trying to get 3 points out of the runners. So like I said, we got $400 in the bank. The worst we can do now is make a few ticks off our 2 runners. And this video is getting pretty long. All right, let's get a little movement going here. It's been pretty slow for the last couple of hours. I hate this trade is taking this long, but again, I want to explain to you while we're waiting on something to happen here. I'll explain this to you. My thinking was we had this double bottom across here. This has been acting as support. So when it's this tight, the only way to really do this safely is to try to buy down here. And generally what will happen when you get a point like that is prices will tick 1 tick lower and then reverse. And if you understand how to read the price action, that will make more sense to you. If you're new with the price action, it probably seems very counterintuitive, especially it probably seems counterintuitive the way I teach, because generally I teach you to wait on this bar right here, or this bar right here, the bullish bar. But by the time that came, it's too close to, because you see what happened. We broke higher and then we turned down, and that's generally exactly what happens. Just like we broke lower down here and then turned up, now we broke higher and then turned down. That's what happens at trading ranges. If you have a breakout to the high side, they bring it back, and if you have a breakout to the low side, they bring it back. We entered at 70 and a quarter, so we're going to get a point and a tick here if we get stopped out, which I believe we are. But if we go higher here and get another leg up without breaking lower right here, we'll probably get our 3 points out of these 2 runners. You notice we did close above the trend line the last 2 bars, and so far neither bar's closed lower below the trend line. It doesn't mean anything, that's just a clue. So a lot of times people take the trend, not the trend line, the EMA is what I should have been saying, is that they get, they think as soon as prices are above or below the EMA, that changes everything, but that's not necessarily the overall trend takes precedence. And the trend has been down clearly since right about here, about 10 o'clock my time, Central Standard Time. Well, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and close this trade and stop this video. See if we can get out. There we go. We got filled. So we We made $400 off the original scalp, and then we made a 5 tick, so we made another 10 ticks off the 2 runners, so that is another $125. So that trade made us $525, and you know, we actually could have, probably should have sold right here when prices ticked through. And now that I closed it, it'll probably rocket on off. But this trade is up, I mean, this video is up to 20 minutes. I didn't want to drag this video on, so I just closed it. So you can see how we made a nice $500. We're out safely near the top of what's currently the resistance, and we probably should have drawn our line across here. I really encourage new traders to draw your lines, because when you know, I've done this long enough that I usually draw my lines as well too, but it changes the picture totally. Now, when you see that, does that not change the picture totally for you? You realize that that is a strong resistance right there. So that was a great place to exit. But my thinking is if we break above this, especially maybe an extra tick, we're going to hit some stops and probably run this thing on higher. So that was why I probably should have held on there and probably could have made another $500 before this trade is over. But I didn't want this video to be 30 minutes long. It's already 21 minutes. But hopefully you garnered something about how I entered there using a limit order. And I'm always telling people, if you miss the trade, use a limit order. Like if you wanted to enter right here and prices broke higher and you didn't, drop you a limit order in here. And see if it'll come back and then bring you in and take you where you want to go. But since this is a trading range and we're right near the top, this was not a good entry by the time prices got here. You had to enter down here at the low like I did. And if you're wanting to go short, you really need to enter up here near the high at this time. But I'm really thinking we're going to break above this and come back and test this area up in here. So we'll see what happens, but we won't know till later because I'm going to end this video. And this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. I hope you had a great holiday season and that you enjoyed your break if you took one during the holidays. And I welcome you back for our 2012 trading year. And you see this thing steadily going higher here. Should have waited on my 3 points. But that's the way the markets are. We don't always get them right, and I probably would have held on there if I wasn't trying to end this video. But anyway, hopefully you got something out of that trade in the way we did it there, and that's pretty standard how I try to buy resistance or support and sell resistance when there's a great setup. And welcome to 2012. We'll look forward to having a great trading year and some. Hopefully we can learn something this year. If you're new to the group, welcome to the group, and thanks for checking in, and we'll see you next time.